Hello Titan fans and welcome back to Manga Horse for another Attack on Titan video. Today we are going to talk about epidemics, and more precisely we are going to talk about the epidemic that struck Shiganshina district on the year 832, and how fortunate they were to have a capable doctor with them when that happened. Before we'll start, let me just state that this is more of an idea than a theory, and I'm not saying that this is actually what happened. I'm only providing a different idea, which is my own. You are more than welcome to agree or to disagree, and if you have any thoughts, please share them with me. As always, I will love discussing with Attack on Titan fans about everything. If you're not quite sure what I'm talking about, let me just explain. On the year 832, Shiganshina district was hit by a sudden epidemic that spread throughout the district. We get a very small mention about it in the first episode of the anime, when Hannes states that Dr. Yeager was the one to stop the epidemic.
Good Dr. Yeager. Yeah, well, can't argue with a man who single-handedly spared us from the plague.
Let me just correct Hannes right here, or actually the English translators that made him say that, because this is not a plague, this is an epidemic, and I will explain the difference later on in this video. In Season 3, we actually see this event takes place during the backstory of Grisha Yeager, when he got inside the walls after inheriting the Attack Titan from Eren Kruger. By the way, if you are interested in the life of Eren Kruger, feel free to check the video I made of his life, including actual dates and events that took place while he was alive. After curing the epidemic like a rock star, Grisha also won the girl, Carla, which soon will become his wife inside the walls, and also Eren's mom. All good and well, but let us backtrack a little bit and try to understand what caused the epidemic in the first place. In order for us to do that, we need to understand first what is actually an epidemic, what causes it, and how do you actually treat something like that on a large scale. So what is actually an epidemic? An epidemic is a widespread occurrence of an infectious disease in a community at a particular time. Well, this sounds about right, because the illness struck only Shiganshina district. It was sudden and took place on a particular time, which is the year 832. Okay, that is nice, but what actually causes an epidemic? Well, the major reasons for an epidemic outbreak include infected food supplies such as contaminated water, and also the migration of population of certain animals such as rats or mosquitoes, which can act as disease vectors. Because we haven't seen a single mosquito or rat reference in the anime, I will rule this out, although it's funny knowing that there is a single cat inside the walls. That doesn't seem like his main agenda is to hunt for rats. But for the sake of this video, let's just say he's doing a good job while not watching people get eaten alive. Also, because this illness struck only Shiganshina, we can assume it is not transmitted by farm animals, because animals were present inside the walls and not only inside Shiganshina. So what this video is actually about? Is it science class all over again? Well, absolutely not. The only reason I explain this is so I can call bullshit on this whole incident, and I have reasons to back this up. First of all, you have to understand that even in this day and age, finding a cure for a newly discovered epidemic takes time, money, continuous testing, and above all, scientists. I find it very hard to believe that a single doctor in a world that is not very technological can find a cure by himself in that amount of time, while also keeping himself from harm's way. Using primitive equipment, this will be almost impossible to do. In order to find a viable cure, you have to run tests on multiple subjects and also on people who are not infected in order to find the cause. Then you can try to find the common factor between all of them, and only then you can try to synthesize antibodies protein to help the infected immune system. As you can imagine yourself, this is a lot of work for a single doctor to do on his own, let alone on the Attack on Titan universe. But the fact remains that Grisha did cure the epidemic, so how is it possible? Well, some people will probably say that, hey, Grisha is from Marley and they are much more advanced and maybe he have seen that kind of illness before. That is a very good argument, but it still doesn't explain why the epidemic only occurred in Shiganshina. So, if it wasn't mosquitoes, rats, or farm animals, what was so different in Shiganshina from the rest of the districts? What was in Shiganshina that wasn't in other districts? Some of you might have guessed by now that the only apparent difference between Shiganshina and the rest of the districts was actually an outside intervention in the form of a man. And this man was Grisha Yeager himself. Wait. Are you saying that good Dr. Yeager is the one responsible for the epidemic? Well, yes I am. And if you want another proof, let us check again the dates and try to find something suspicious. As we mentioned, the epidemic took place on the year 832. So let's check what else happened on the same year. Well, what do you say? The year of the epidemic was the same year that Grisha entered the walls. Coincidence? I don't think so. But how did it happen exactly? Does Grisha Yeager possess some sort of virus from the outside world that was never seen inside the walls? Maybe. Take for example the first colonists in America that tried to harm the Native Americans population by giving them blankets contaminated with chickenpox virus. The Native American immune system wasn't familiar with that virus, and for that it was absolutely devastating for them. So yeah, this could be the case here in Shiganshina as well, but again, it is unlikely that a single person would infect so many by himself in such a short time. And also, knowing Isayama, we know that nothing happens without a reason in Attack on Titan. So, I would like to offer another idea, a more exotic one, you might say. What if Grisha deliberately infected the entire district? How? Simple. The water supply. People use water on a daily basis, for drinking, washing, cooking, cleaning and whatnot. So this would be a perfect way to spread some infected love around the district. But why the hell would he do that? My guess, for now, is that he did it in order to find other bloodlines inside Shiganshina. And if I have to be more specific, I think he was looking for the Ackermans. This is only speculations, because we don't actually know when did Grisha met the Ackerman family, Mikasa's family. And if this is true, maybe this is how we actually got to meet them in the first place. Remember that the Ackerman family were living in a secluded part of the forest, inside Shiganshina, and the chances for Grisha to find them just with pure luck are slim to none. But why would he try to find them? Well, maybe he was looking for someone who was immune to the king's mind manipulation, which as we know does not affect the Ackerman clan, and also maybe because he knew they had special abilities that will come in handy to him in time to get the Founding Titan, and also maybe he thought that the Ackerman might know the true identity of the royal family. And if you think about it, how did Grisha actually know where to find the chapel of the Race family, and how did he know that the Race family is the actual royal family? He must have gotten this information somewhere, don't you think? If you're asking yourself how did Grisha treated all those sick people, there isn't an easy answer to that. But I like to think that it had something to do with the mysterious purple flowers that I also made a video about. So go check it out if you're interested. Now some of you may think that there isn't enough data to support this part of the theory, and I absolutely understand this because you are absolutely right. That is why I don't consider it to be a full-on theory, not until we will have more information about it. And until we do, I hope I could at least give you something more to think about. And one last thing. I promised I would show you why Hannes was wrong to call it a plague, so just a little explanation. When an epidemic becomes widespread to several countries or to the entire world, then it is called pandemic, similar to the actual plague, better known as the infamous Black Death that paralyzed the world and claimed close to 60% of the European population. The illness in Shiganshina originated and ended in Shiganshina, what makes it an epidemic and not pandemic like the actual plague. And that concludes our video about the epidemic in Shiganshina. And like always, if you like this video, please consider subscribing and smashing that like button. And if you don't agree with my idea, please let me know. Let's talk about it. I would absolutely want to hear your opinions. Thank you so much for joining me today, and if you love anime, feel free to visit my Facebook page, Manga Horse, where I host 3 groups: Attack on Titan, The Promised Neverland, and Dr. Stone, and I will keep opening new groups for you and your favorite animes. And before we go, let me just remind you all to dedicate your hearts for humanity, inside and outside the walls.